Before we get into today's video, the first issue of our magazine in 2024 will be released on the first weekend of February. Now, to cut back on expenses and leftovers, we are releasing the magazine a bit differently this year. Instead of buying in bulk with a guess of how much stock we'll need, we are now implementing pre-orders the month before its release. This assures we will only order what we need. So if you want issue number 7, go pre-order a copy now or become a MagPass subscriber and get all 2024 copies with one low price. Well, it's been a pretty solid start to the 2024 Monster Energy Supercross Series. We got drama, we got crashes, we got some great battles, especially with the mud races, and of course, we got a lot of penalties and fines, especially this weekend. San Diego came in with a lot of penalties compared to the first 2 rounds, so I figured I'd do a whole video on it just to put it all together in a nice package for you guys in a quick form video. Now, let's start off with the 250 class. First up, Nate Thrasher. Now, I rewatched the entire 250 Heat 1, and I could only find 2 times Thrasher went off the track. The first one being after Shimoda passed him the first time. Thrasher kind of fell off in the whoops, lost balance, but it didn't really matter. I wouldn't see how they claimed he gained time because he ended up losing time, and Shimoda fell over shortly after, so it kind of was null and void anyway. But he didn't really gain time on that. Now, the only thing I did find was on the last lap of the race where Thrasher looks to kind of stall the bike before the whoops, and he kind of rolled off the track, obviously got it starting again, and just went completely around the whoops section entirely. Now, I don't know how he would get penalized 2 positions for gaining an advantage off track. He didn't really gain time, and nobody else was near him, so I don't know, maybe it was somewhere else he gained time or an advantage, but Shimoda crashed in the whoops right there, so he gained that spot, but he wouldn't have if Shimoda didn't fall over. So I don't know how they gave him this penalty. Maybe there's another part in the race I missed. But either way, Nate Thrasher in 250 Heat 1, he got a 2-position penalty for gaining an advantage off the track. So maybe that footage is it, maybe it's not. Let me know if you guys know something. I don't, but that's the only thing I could find that potentially fits this penalty. All right, the second and final 250 class penalty was for Heat 2. Hunter Yoder, the Partzilla Kawasaki rider, got docked 2 positions for cutting the track. Now, I watched the entire race again of 250 Heat 2, and I couldn't find anything. The only thing I could find on him was in the middle of the race, you could see he dropped from like 6th place in the leaderboard to 18th, and then it switched back, which tells me he possibly cut the track, missing the timing and scoring sensor that's sitting on the side of the track. That could be where he cut the track or what they're referring to. Again, I don't know. There wasn't any footage of it, but Hunter Yoder, he got a 2-position penalty for cutting the track. It obviously didn't mean much in the end because he qualified with a few positions to spare anyways. On to the 450 class. Starting off, we have Next Level Racing KTM rider Colby Kopp. Now, his penalty is kind of irrelevant because he didn't qualify anyways, so whatever, but I figured I'd add it in. I want to put it all into one video for you. I tried to find the footage from qualifying of his penalty, but again, couldn't find it. But Colby Kopp got docked his fastest lap time for jumping on a red cross flag. This was in the 450 Group C qualifying session, so again, it was kind of irrelevant, but it's on the report, so that's what we got for Colby Kopp. Next up, we have a more prominent racer, Jason Anderson. Anderson actually got a penalty and a fine from this race, so let's start with the penalty. Anderson was issued a 1-position penalty for cutting the track in 450 Heat 1. I tried to find it, no footage from what I saw. Again, I did see him dropping down from 9th to like 15th on the scoreboard and then popping back up, so that could be, like I said before, cutting the track, missing the timing and scoring sensor on the side of the track. That could be what it was, but it was kind of a rough race anyway for Anderson, starting way in the back, working his way up to the front. Obviously, this penalty didn't mean anything because he still qualified after the loss of 1 position. But anyway, that's the first one for Jason Anderson. Secondly, Anderson, along with Jett Lawrence, got fined for violating the rider code of conduct. We all know why. We saw the viral video and live on TV a little bit while Plessinger was celebrating, but they didn't actually put the cost of the fine on the report, which was odd, but it was due to the post-race altercation that we all saw. Now, I know you've probably seen it, but let's look at a breakdown of what caused the drama between the two and the footage from the track to the words they had afterwards. This is a pretty good clip from Jason Thomas in the post-race video, so I figured I'd add it in to give you guys more context. Here's that.
Well, Aaron Plessinger was certainly grabbing all the headlines, but there was a story developing behind them as well, as Jett Lawrence was trying to climb through the pack and finally was able to get around Jason Anderson, but they were not too pleased with each other after the main event. And I think there's a little bit of different perspective. You know, Jett Lawrence has had so much success and believes he should be up front winning races, but a rider like Jason Anderson, he also believes he should be up front and doesn't want to get pushed around by a rider like Jett Lawrence, and certainly doesn't want to have any confrontation afterwards. So there's a little bit of tempers flaring. I think Jett Lawrence, there's a little bit of a learning moment. You know, he's still trying to find his way with these veteran riders, right? And they should be shown respect. So I was able to speak with Dazzy Lawrence and also Dan Fahey from Monster Energy Kawasaki to get their perspectives, and I think they're both in the same place. They felt like there was an overreaction on the racetrack. Both riders lost their cool, but all is forgiven now, and they're just ready to move on and move towards Anaheim too. So what seemed very tense and very tempestuous on the track has now calmed. Cooler heads have prevailed, and I think you're not going to see any sort of ramifications as we move into to Anaheim next weekend.
With that being said, obviously Jett Lawrence got a penalty as well for violating the rider code of conduct. So again, he got fined as well. But they seem to be good. They seem to be on good terms now. After the race, Jett put out a public apology and kind of a jab at Anderson. Then Anderson came out with a post saying, quote, "fight night," and saying that they're all good now and tagged Jett Lawrence. So I guess they must have talked it out in the end. Anyways, there you have it. Quite a list of fines and penalties. We normally only have 1 or 2, so 6 in total. That's pretty big. We haven't had one like that in a while, so I figured I'd do a quick video for you, give you guys all the information at once. Let me know what you guys think of all these. Most of them are kind of irrelevant, but I figured all the moto nerds like myself would want to see every little bit of this penalty report, so there it is, folks. Let me know what you guys think of all of them down below. Obviously, I want to hear your opinion on the Jett v. Anderson situation. But that's all I got for you today. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.